The Man Who Tried to Change Fate.
A long time ago in England, there lived a very rich man who was known for his great skill at telling the future. He would have big parties in his big house. At the parties, he would tell the future of his guests. The man was very proud of his skill because he was very good at it. The rich man had a baby boy. He was interested in knowing his son's fate. The father was not pleased with what he saw. His son was supposed to marry a very poor girl who lived in a village near their home. The rich man was not satisfied with his son's future. The man went to the village. The girl who his son was supposed to marry had been born only 1 month before. The family was worried about feeding the new baby. They already had many children. The rich man told the family,
I know a couple who can't have children. Give me your daughter. I will be responsible for her until the couple comes to get her.
Of course, the poor family was surprised by the rich man's offer, but they agreed. As he was going home, the rich man stopped by the river. He wanted to be sure that the girl would never marry his son. He put the baby girl in a bag that was made of leather and threw her in the river. However, the bag was full of air, so it floated. A fisherman found the bag and took the baby home. His wife was fond of children, so they raised the girl as if she were their own daughter. Many years later, the girl happened to meet the rich man's son. They fell in love and were ready to get married. The rich man noticed that she was similar to the girl he had thrown in the river. He went to visit the fisherman and heard the story. It was the same girl. However, he knew that he would be in trouble if he tried to kill the girl now. He took the girl to the river. Then the man threw his ring into the river and said,
Bring that ring to my next party, and then you can marry my son.
The girl went away. Her eyes were filled with tears. The girl wanted to cook some delicious food for the party. She hoped that the man would be impressed by her skill and change his mind. She bought the biggest fish in the market and took it home. When she cut the fish open, she found a ring inside. "Ah, it's the rich man's ring!" she shouted. "I'm sure of it!" She didn't want to be late for the party, so she dressed quickly and ran to the rich man's house. Before the party was over, the girl went up to the rich man and gave him his ring back. Now she could marry his son. He finally realized that he could not change fate.
The Wait-and-See Man.
Long ago in China, a young farmer bought a female horse. Many of the farmer's neighbors would come by to see the horse. He spent many hours caring for her. The young farmer was counting on having many young horses to sell. One day, however, the horse ran away. The young farmer's friends tried to cheer him up, but he was too sad. He knew that his family couldn't afford to buy a new horse. However, the farmer's father continued to smile. Finally, the young farmer couldn't stand his father's smile any longer. He asked, "What are you so happy about?" His father told him calmly, "It is sad to lose a horse, but you never know what good things might happen because of this. We should wait and see." A few months later, the horse returned, and it brought a beautiful, strong male horse with it. The farmer called up all of his friends. They came over to the young farmer's house to offer him congratulations on his good fortune. The young farmer told his friends, "Now my dream of having many young horses to sell will come true." But when the father came up to them, he looked worried. The farmer's father told everyone, "Having 2 horses does seem lucky, but I can't help worrying that something bad will happen. We must wait and see." Then one day, the farmer fell off the horse. His leg hurt and he cried out for help. His family heard his cries and came out of the house to help him. They took him to the hospital and checked in. The doctor came to examine the young farmer. He told him that his leg was broken and he would not be able to work for many weeks. The farmer's wife and child would have to cope with all of the farm work alone. All of the farmer's friends and family were upset, except the farmer's father. He told everyone, "Yes, it does look bad, doesn't it? But calm down. We should wait and see what good things may happen as a result of this." Only a few days later, the towns near the farm were attacked by armies from the north. All of the towns asked the people to cooperate with each other and make an army to defend their land. This army consisted of farmers rather than soldiers, and many young men died in the fighting. However, because the young farmer had broken his leg, he could not fight. The young farmer lived to become a very old man. The young farmer learned a good lesson from his wait-and-see father. He learned that both good and bad luck will catch up with you.
Lesson 7. The Girl Who Dressed Like a Boy.
This story comes from the Middle East. Generally speaking, women in the Middle East are not seen as equal to men. For example, women cannot get the same jobs as men. Once, there was an ugly girl that no man wanted to marry. Also, she could not get a job. She decided to cut her hair short and put on boys' clothes. She got a job caring for some sheep. For a long time, no one knew that she was a girl. Then one day, while she was out in the field, she saw a young man lying on the ground. He was badly hurt. She took him to her house and cared for him. For a while, she didn't know who he was. Then she heard that the king's son had been attacked by robbers and was missing. She knew for sure that the young man must be the prince. She got in touch with one of the king's soldiers. The soldier came to take the prince back home. The girl went with them. The king was very glad to meet the boy who saved his son. As a reward, the king gave her a horse named Lulazar. It was fast and strong and could also talk. From time to time, she would go to visit the prince. For the time being, the prince did not know that she was a girl. However, for the first time in her life, the girl fell in love. She got tired of acting like a boy. One day, she told the king that she wanted to get married to his son. When the king found out she was an ugly girl, he wanted to get rid of her. However, he did not want the prince to get involved in this plan. He decided to send the girl on a dangerous journey. He told her, "If you want to marry my son, you must bring back the necklace of the Devil Mother." The king knew that the girl would fail and never come back. She got on her horse Lulazar and rode to the place where the Devil Mother lived. When she got off, Lulazar said, "As soon as you find the necklace, get out. Jump out the window and I will catch you." The girl went quietly inside. She looked around for some time. She found the necklace and jumped out the window onto Lulazar. The Devil Mother saw a boy riding away with their necklace. She pointed her magic finger and said, "I curse you, boy! From now on, you will be a woman!" When the girl got back to the king's palace, she had changed into a beautiful woman. When the prince saw her, he immediately fell in love and asked her to marry him. The king had to keep his promise to the girl for getting the necklace. The prince and the woman got married and lived happily ever after.
Three Rabbits. Long ago in Turkey, three rabbit brothers lived with their father and mother in a hole. The two older brothers did not always behave well and did badly in school. However, the youngest brother always listened to his parents and did his homework. One day their father said, "My sons, listen to me. You are all now old enough to care for yourselves. You must go out and dig your own holes. A rabbit's hole is very important. Without the protection of our holes, we would probably die out. Do your best to make the hole long and narrow. I hope that you will each do well in life and fall in love with nice girl rabbits. But don't move too far from us. We want you to drop by often."
The brothers tried to figure out where they should go.
The first young rabbit said, "I hate living in a hole. I feel like living in a little house near the field. I'll go there and eat and enjoy myself." He found a box that someone disposed of. He made a door and two windows. It was a lovely little house. Suddenly, the rabbit saw a fox and went into his house. When the fox saw the little house, he laughed. In a few seconds, the fox destroyed the house, caught the young rabbit, and ate him. His little house could not keep out a fox. The second young rabbit also dreamed of living in a house. He told his brother, "I'm going to build a house next to a large tree. I can depend on the tree's roots to protect me." Then the young rabbit dashed off to build his house. He cut off a few branches from the tree to make the roof. He filled up the roots of the tree with leaves and grass. Soon he felt hungry, so he went to look for some food. The same fox that ate his brother saw the young rabbit. The rabbit dashed off to his house. When he saw the house, the fox laughed. It was easy for him to catch the rabbit. The roots could not protect the rabbit. The third young rabbit differed from his brothers. He listened to his father's words and dug a long, narrow hole. The rabbit was safe. Later, his mother and father came to drop off some carrots. The little rabbit thanked his parents. His father said, "Don't mention it."
The Sun, the Moon, and the Bat.
According to a story from Africa, a long time ago, the sun and the bat were good friends. They were seen together all the time. They shared their dreams as well as their problems. One day, the moon and the sun began talking about who was stronger. The moon said she was stronger. The sun did not agree with her. They argued. "I am stronger." "No, I am stronger." "No, I am." And so on. Finally, they decided to have a contest. After a couple of days, they planned to meet at the lake to see who could throw a rock the farthest across the lake. A lot of animals came from all over the world to the lake to watch the contest. They came early because they knew that the contest could start at any time. The moon arrived at the lake first. She wanted to win, so she practiced before the sun arrived. She picked up rocks one at a time and threw them. Each time the rocks went farther and farther. By the time the sun finally arrived at the lake, The moon was sure she could win. The moon chose a rock and threw it. It landed near the other side of the lake. The sun chose a bigger rock and threw it. Near the middle of the lake, the sun's rock began to fall toward the water. But all of a sudden, it began to go up again. The sun's rock went all the way to the other side of the lake. It seemed that the sun had won the contest after all. However, nobody knew that the bat was carrying the rock. When the bat was sure that no one could see him, he stopped to rest between a pair of banana trees. His wings were tired. It was difficult carrying the heavy rock, but he was happy to help the sun.
That's what friends are for,
thought the bat. Many years later, the bat's mother died. Above all, the bat wanted his mother to have a nice grave. The bat worked all day, but he was not finished by the time the sun began to go down. The bat asked for a favor from the sun.
Can you stay up until I finish my mother's grave?
The sun refused. Again and again the bat begged, but the sun said it was time for him to go down. The bat was very angry. The sun did not help him, even though he had helped the sun. When the moon came up, she saw the bat still working hard on his mother's grave. The moon gave the bat enough light to finish his work. As a result, the bat and the moon became good friends. That's why today you will never see the bat near the sun. He is always with his friend, the moon.
The Jindo Dog.
Dogs are worth keeping as pets because they are willing to do anything for the family they belong to. They guard the house, bring in the paper, and play well with children. In Korea, Jindo dogs are known to be the smartest and most loyal dogs because of a famous story. According to this story, a Jindo dog saved a man's life, even though it brought about its own death. A long time ago, a man went to call on his friend in another town. The man had to walk to the other town by way of a path through the woods. He didn't like walking by himself, so the man took his dog with him. When the man reached his friend's house, he saw that there was a large drinking party going on. His friend welcomed him in and brought out some wine. It was very good, so he drank a lot. He was used to drinking wine, so he was not worried about having too much. Before long, however, the man got very drunk. Between you and me, I think the man had a drinking problem. At last, the man decided it was time to call off the drinking and go home. He broke away from the party and went home with his dog. On the way, the man began to feel tired. He sat down to rest, but quickly fell asleep because of all the wine he drank. The dog lay down by the man and waited for him to wake up. Then, all of a sudden, the dog smelled smoke. A fire broke out in the woods. A small wind was blowing, but it did not blow out the fire. The wind made the fire bigger. The dog tried to wake up the man by barking, but the man was too drunk. He would not wake up. The dog heard the sound of a small river near the path. It tried to pull the man to the river, but the man was too big. It ran to the river and jumped in. Then the dog ran back to the man and shook itself. The man and the grass around him got a little wet. The dog ran back and forth many times. Finally, the man and the ground were all wet. The fire burned all around him, but it did not harm the man. Sadly, the dog was so tired from running that it fell down and died. When the man woke up and found his dog had died, he cried. He knew that his dog had saved his life by giving up its own life. He was so thankful for his dog. The man told all of his friends how great Jindo dogs are. By the way, the man also gave up drinking after that.